See? Now, if we can put all that on a T-shirt, we would squeeze it up there. Because what you said was so powerful, but sometimes when you're in the moment, when you're in the heat of battle, sometimes all that go back to 40, and they go to 85, and it might make a detour and come
Just
back
go
to
ahead,
70.
give me my 2 days.
Let
I
me
need.
get that. That's it. But like, if we can hear more, if we can instill more into the household of, hey, babe, just be upfront, be honest about it. Of course I'm gonna be upset, but just give me a couple of days to process it. That isn't communicated enough in the household, because sometimes in the middle of it, in the battle, we ain't thinking about wording it that way. We're not thinking about saying it that way, and it feels different and it sounds different. So what you said was, hey, babe, just go ahead and be upfront, communicate about it. Even if I need a couple of days and take additional couple of days to talk about it, so we can both heal, not just one person but both. That feels wonderful right now. But in the battle, sometimes it feels like, look, will you go ahead and just be upfront, honest with me? Because dang, yeah, we're going to talk about it. The heck if I heal. We just need to talk. But we got to be okay with switching the game up sometimes when it comes to issues. Just because it's a sensitive issue does not mean that the conversation needs to go to hell. But we got to be able to practice that. But how else do we practice it if it's not in the battle? But we got to be able to remember in the battle too. But that's life. But we're all a work in progress.
You're absolutely correct. And I'll be Lotuses. I don't ask anybody to come here and be transparent, and I don't be transparent. There was one particular topic, I want to say it took us the entire week to talk through.
Yeah.
That's just how heavy it was. But we were intentional.
Boom.
Intentional about the outcome that we wanted to see. Not just for one, but for both. And after talking about it a few days, and I'm not making this up, I'm being real, we implemented what we were going to do if this topic ever came up again.
That's right.
What were going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nuggets to walk through, or questions that we were going to ask each other in order to gather more information, and how we were going to choose to handle it the next time it would arise, if it ever came up again.
Because that part is important. That sounds like nobody's trying to just be right. Y'all are trying to focus on the solution. Now, somebody might say, well, dang, why is it taking 5 or 6 days? Stop counting. Sometimes it takes several days to cool down.
There it is.
Sometimes it takes several days to become more intentional, because y'all, we're human. Sometimes I want to be right. Sometimes my wife want to be right. But we have to focus on getting that out of our spirit sometimes, because that'll prolong a conversation. But when your spirit is together, when you're trying your best to be intentional, when you're trying to get to a solution that you all are focused on, when you're trying to avoid, if it does happen again, that we can be better prepared, that's a growth, that's a mature conversation. And that's what a lot of us are not doing. But
yeah, let's be real, because we're not perfect, right? So in the beginning, y'all might just be talking at each other.
That's it.
Ain't nobody listening.
Not
I want you to hear me. You want me to hear you. Why you don't understand my point? Why you don't understand my feelings?
That's the first 1 to 2 days right there.
Right. Sometimes it's just that, where you get to the place where, okay, let me really listen. Because everybody don't have active listening skills.
That's right.
We good at saying what we need to say, waiting for you to shut up so we can respond.
That's it.
We ain't heard nothing you said. We ain't processed anything you said. We ain't took in anything that you said. We heard your verbals. We haven't taken a chance. We haven't taken the time to look at your nonverbals.
That ain't communication. That's a courtroom. That's what people do in court. 2 people in court trying to listen to it, trying to take the presence of a stranger who's going to tell them if they're right or wrong.
That's
and
it.
when 2 people are in court, one person's trying to win over the next person.
That's
courtroom. That's not communication. There's a reason the first 2 letters of the term communication are there. Co. You can, as plural. The mic too expensive. I don't want to drop it. But like, there's a reason why it's C and the O at the very beginning of communication.
Co.
That's it.
And if you don't have the active listening in the communication, you're gonna be in the other CO, court.
And you can believe it. I'm trying to tell you.
Court.
And you're gonna have to depend on a complete stranger to dictate. Why depend on a stranger when you can depend on 2 parties that obviously know each other, that have an opportunity to resolve it? But when you're too fixated on pride, when you're too fixated on trying to be right, when you're too fixated on trying to prove you wrong, or trying to figure out lies where my lies need to turn into being right, you're going to have to depend on the stranger.
Because it's like my boo said, the person you marry is not the person you divorce. And a lot of times the person that you marry, and a lot of times the person that you marry, when you get to the place of divorce, is where y'all weren't honest about it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said that 6 months or a year in, if it's still kind of like bothering me, we need to go ahead and revisit that.
Yeah,
because
okay.
again, I don't want to be divorcing the person that I said I want to spend the rest of my life with.
That's it. We think that just because we said it on day 1 that we can't switch it up on day 89. You can switch it up on day 89. That's life. We grow. We mature.
There it
things
is.
fall off. We gain weight. We lose weight. Y'all, things happen. Communicate. It's free. It's not going to drop your credit score. It's not going to put on pounds. If you don't do this, don't do that. At the end of the day, y'all, it's okay to communicate.
Yeah.
It's okay to be transparent. It's okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerable does not make you less of a person. It's okay. It's okay to date. I mean, that's how I look at it.
Wow. This has been an amazing show. I'm definitely going to ask you to give the Lotuses a few nuggets as we go out. I want to say, I know this show is going to be a blessing to someone. The recording for this show has been so much different than any show we have recorded to date, with the noises in the background, the distractions, and all of that. And what I know about that is when it's at that level, somebody is going to be delivered. Mm-hmm. It's going to hit in somebody's home. It's going to make a difference in somebody's life. And I pray that not only do you hit the like button, that you share with your auntie, your grannies, your uncles, your cousins, your friends. Because we know somebody who struggles with communication. Heck, it might be you that struggle with communication. I struggle with communication to date. I don't just struggle with the active listening part. I struggle with the delivery sometimes, because sometimes what's in my head, I don't articulate it through my mouth. I just sometimes have these thoughts in my mind and expect people to read my mind and what I'm thinking or what I mean. And sometimes I may use words that may mean something else, which throws the entire sentence out of context, and it's not properly translated to the person that I am conveying it to. We can become so much better individually and how we show up in relationships if we take the time to simply work on communication.
Tell her right.
Those were nuggets that we dropped today with communication. Our delivery, our timing, word choice. Well, help me out here, Dake Dotner.
Hey, tone, delivery, word choice, energy, switching the game up, trying something different, being intentional, doing it with a purpose, and the deuces.
If necessary.
If necessary. Effective immediately.
Yes.
Like, put the chains on the doors. Like, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Don't be afraid to tell people, hey, this ain't working for me no more. You will save you and that person. And potentially, if you have children together. That's where toxicity resides. When we're not being honest with ourselves, let alone others. Now we get linked up. We have children, bringing them up in toxic environments. They got to navigate and work through things as children or adults. Hopefully they do work through it. Sometimes people don't want to work through things. They want to tuck it away and just keep building on it. And then wonder why different little other things are popping up in our lives. Where's this high blood pressure coming from? Where's this anger coming from? Where's this depression coming from?
Why ain't I sleeping at night? Why I got these random headaches?
Ooh.
Like, y'all, it's a lot. Like, we have to take, like you said, we have to take care of ourselves. Like Cat Williams said, we got to cater to the star player. And we are that star player.
That's good.
If this person brings no value, then what it's gonna do at the end of the month, it's gonna be an insufficient funds notice. So we gotta be able to do better. I mean, that's just what it is. But we're too busy trying to stay fixated on protecting that person, trying our best not to hurt their feelings. But y'all, like I said before, and as a disclaimer, I don't hurt cats. But there's multiple ways to skin a cat, y'all.
Multiple ways.
I can say something so personal to you that may sound. I can say something that you may feel as intimidated about or offensive about, but I can switch up the game and switch up my word choice to where you're not as offensive about it. Whether it's in reference to sex, whether it's in reference to your money, whether in reference to finances or weight. I don't have to say something that's going to hurt your feelings. I can switch it up and still be loving and be supportive so we can get to a solution.
Wonderful.
So,
wonderful.
not to say that it's that simple, but because I want to be intentional, because I want to be transparent, because I want to be open and honest about it, I don't have to hit home just to get my point across.
No.
I can switch the game up. I can switch up my word choice, and that's just what it is.
Was that your nugget for the Lotuses, or do you have an overall nugget that you would like to share?
That's going to be my nugget, but I want to add something else to the table.
All right.
Just because you put me on the spot. Y'all, at the end of the day, let's set goals. So the Lotuses, let's set goals for ourselves. Let's set goals that are realistic. Let's do better. Let's put ourselves in a prize position. Let's try our best to focus on doing better overall. Let's continue to look out for the best interest in us. The same energy that we're doing trying to protect others, use some of that same energy for yourself. Like if you want to slim down, if you want to, deal with stress a little bit different, let's start researching ways that can help increase the chances of success. And, let's hold ourselves accountable. Let's keep our true friends in our lives that don't mind giving us reason to believe to do better. Wonderful. So that will be my nuggets with the sweet and sour sauce and match.
Can you tell the Lotuses how they can reach out to you?
Yep. If you want to reach out to me, you can look me up on all social media platforms at John Date Dr. Clark. Now that Date Doctor, you got to spell it with a little swag and a little slang. So it's spelled DATEDOCTA. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, IG is the same thing. But yeah, those are some of the ways you'll be able to find me. Or if you want to look me up on my website, you can look me up under www.thedatedoctor.com. So that's THEDATEDOCTA.com. My email address is up there. A good office line is up there. Should you all ever need me, one text, one call, one email away. And the way you see me on the podcast is pretty much how you'll see me in person or Zoom or live. And I just like to be transparent with any couple or individual that I cater to, because people don't pay me to be fake. They pay me to be transparent and to be helpful. And I'm going to be helpful because helpful looks like accountability. If you struggle with accountability, I got your back. But at the end of the day, much success to everyone, and thanks again for the invitation.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to be anybody else but myself.
That's what I call. That's who I call.
That's it.
That's who I call.
That's it.
Lotuses, I'm always transparent. I personally use the Date Doctor and his services. Wonderful, wonderful services. Don't waste his time calling him if you don't want the truth. You are going to get the truth. He's going to give it in love. He's going to give it from a comedy standpoint. However, it's not going to be boring by far. However, it is going to be the truth. He's going to ask the hard questions, and he's going to give the honest feedback. But because I have utilized his services and continue to do so, I'm so much better because of it. And this is why he's on this seat today. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. I pray, again, that this show blesses you. Remember, hit that bell on YouTube, share us on Facebook, find us on TikTok, but most importantly, continue to send your letters to the Lotus Letters Podcast at gmail.com. Thanks, and we're out.